Wake up, Rip City. Your Portland Trailblazers play basketball tonight. They'll take on the Chicago Bulls at 7 p.m. After some tough games for the Blazers, they lose to the Suns 127 to 110 last night at home. It's been a tough stretch to say the least. They go 1-4 on a 5-game road trip, come home and drop another one to the Suns. This is the Wake Up Rip City podcast. I'm Alex Moore. Alongside me, it's Jonathan Glissmeyer, Jay Gliss. Today on the show, we'll do the usual. We'll wake up on the right side of the bed, give you some positive takes from what seemed like such a negative stretch from the Blazers. We'll go into some negatives as well, wake up on the wrong side of the bed. We'll also talk about the latest Scoot Henderson update and what's happening with him. And then, Gliss, I have a little surprise for you at the end. So I'm gonna leave you hanging a little bit, but I've got something for you. Right. But hopefully put a smile on your face. So, Gliss, oh man, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little slow this morning. I agree. The Blazers are playing basketball tonight, and I hope they play better than they played last night.
There you go. So this is a stretch, Gliss, where you and I are both going to games. I went to the game last night. You're going to the game tonight, so that's a little exciting. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit as well. Kind of what's your favorite Moda Center experience, or what's your favorite thing to do? We'll talk about that a little bit later in the podcast as well. But let's start off like we start off every podcast, waking up on the right side of the bed. Gliss, what's your positive take from this last stretch of Blazers ball?
So actually, my wake up on the right side of the bed is I got to watch the NBA on NBC telecast for the first time, which I know where I'm going is a little bit before your time, but hearing the Round Ball Rock by John Tesh, in my opinion, the greatest sports theme of all time, and then seeing the aerial shots of the Moda Center and all that. That was the highlight of my night. I was hoping it was going to get better from there, but unfortunately it did not in terms of how the Blazers played. But that was definitely the highlight of my night because I haven't watched a lot of the national broadcasts this season as of yet. So yeah, that was a nice treat seeing getting to hear that theme song and a lot of nostalgia. And that was super cool. So I'm digging the NBA on NBC comeback.
Fantastic. That is a great positive from the game. Awesome. I love that because it's a little bit before my time, but dude, that song is
iconic.
Iconic. Yeah. Everyone knows it. I've got to imagine that even the Gen Z kids know that song just from watching on YouTube videos. I used to play the NBA Jam, which had it too.
Oh yeah.
Game. It's the best song ever when it comes to sports. I was so excited for NBA back on NBC this year. I watched the opening night of the NBA season just so I could hear the song again. It was so awesome. To hear it attached to Blazers basketball is incredible. Of course, I didn't get to hear it because I had to go to the night. But yeah, that's a great wake up on the right side of the bed. That's fantastic. Maybe I'll go back today and check it out on YouTube and see those shots of Portland with the song because that's fantastic. Gliss, I have to be honest with you. You took the best one, and I didn't get to enjoy that because I was at the game. But still, oh man. Okay, I mean, Shaedon Sharpe has been looking good. Young Hansen got minutes last night on national TV, and he looked like an NBA player.
That was fun.
Those were the good things that I definitely took away from the game. There were moments in the game last night when you could tell Young was getting sped up quite a lot, and he got trapped a couple of turnovers. But other than that, I think that was the best stretch of basketball I've seen play as a big in the NBA. And kind of showed to me that he can play in this league for sure, and he's grown a lot in just couple months of being kind of around the NBA season. And I think that going down to the G League was very helpful for him because you could see it. He seemed more confident out there. was getting to his spots, had a couple of nice post moves. I liked him being kind of the floor general up top and hitting the guards on some backdoor cuts and some cuts and stuff like that. Those were moments where he was getting sped up, like I said, and had some turnovers. But I saw the vision. I a couple times I was like, that's the right idea, even though he made a mistake. I was like, that's the right idea when he was making passes and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that was definitely a positive from last night. Man, it's tough to. So, um, let's just get into it. I mean, what's the wrong side of the bed this morning, Gliss?
I mean, the that second half, that third quarter in particular, I mean, it looked like it looked more reminiscent of the teams we've seen in recent years, where it was like just like a mishmash of random players, and there was no flow, there was no continuity, and in fact, I was impressed with the Suns. You talked about last week. You kind of said that the Blazers had maybe you felt like they were po- possibly losing their identity.
Yeah.
The Suns, they reminded me of that Trailblazers team from the first couple games of the season. I mean, they were
So long ago.
yeah. I mean, they were just like their energy on defense was. I mean, it just like it took the Blazers out of their offense, in particular in that third quarter. And when you don't have Drew Holiday and obviously Dame, who is not going to play this year, but you're talking about the point guards we have on the roster: Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday, Blake Wesley. All those guys are sitting on the bench. Jeremy Grant was out. I mean, they just didn't have the weapons, but I was impressed with the Suns and the energy that they played with. And in that third quarter, I mean, the Blazers didn't look like they belonged there, honestly.
Yeah. And I guess what I'll say to that, Gliss, is I pointed it out early last night at the game, and I didn't hear the broadcast, and I'm interested kind of probably what the national take on this was, but the Blazers didn't have a point guard last night.
No.
It is hard to play the game of basketball.
And Caleb Love is not he's not a true point guard.
Yeah, he's not. And he's the closest thing we have to the Blazers have to a point guard right now. And the Suns' assignment last night was pretty easy. This team doesn't have a point guard on the roster. What are you going to do? We're going to press. We're going to be aggressive with the ball when it's coming up to half court. And then they were trapping at half court as well. And it was just like, I was like, yeah, of course they're going to do that. Why wouldn't they do that? I mean, it makes perfect sense. They can force turnovers. They can get out in the open court. And they have such good personnel to do that. And so it was the assignment for the Suns was easy last night. Attack the ball, be aggressive, and the Blazers aren't going to be able to do much, offensively without a point guard. Now, in the first half, the Blazers were able to hold their own, right? But the game kept tipping on the kind of point of the Blazers are about to lose this. They would go down 10, then they'd come back, and then they'd go down 10 again, then they'd come back. And then in the first half, they were able to, close the gap to end the first half. But then in the second half, when things started going, it just felt like they were never going to. It wasn't going to come back because that Suns pressure really, really came up in the third quarter, and they start the third quarter on a I think it was a 15-0 run. It might have been more, and there was no looking back after that. So, yeah, I mean, you can take the no point guard thing as a wake up on the wrong side of the bed or a wake up on the right side of the bed, I guess, because it's just hard to play the game of basketball without someone who can truly handle the ball in pressure situations, just bringing the ball up the court, setting up the offense. Denny and Shaden can do as much as they want to help with that, but ultimately neither of them are true point guards, and it's going to be difficult to set up the offense because usually the point guard's job setting up the offense will be to get the ball to Denny or Shaden and set them up to score. And now they're bringing the ball up, which is just changing the whole offense. So, Yeah, just a difficult situation to play without point guards. And then the one person you miss who also wasn't playing last night was Scoot Henderson. So it's like, 4 point guards who are out, and Caleb Love is the one. And Caleb Love actually, he could also be a wake up on the right side of the bed. Made some
He
good
played
shots.
well. Yeah, he played well.
And I was just saying this at the game last night. I was like, he's got the green light. Go for it. I mean, he has to take these shots. I mean, someone needs to shoot. So yeah, just a lot of thoughts on the whole perspective. But it's like it's hard to play the game of basketball without guard is my number one takeaway, and it showed last night. I mean, I don't know how many games I've watched since I've been a Blazers fan where they haven't had a true point guard on an entire roster. I mean, it's just it's a weird perspective on, because now in the NBA, right, you could play a lot easier without a true center on a roster, right? Like you could get away with
for
it
sure.
killed on the boards, but you could get away with it. Without a point guard is a lot more difficult, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure. And it's it's interesting. Circling back to Young Hansen, they actually Derek Fisher brought that up. He felt like the reason that he got minutes is because they didn't have a point guard, and in his perspective was he had said before the game. This guy was brought here because they really don't have anyone to facilitate the offense. Denny can do that a little bit, but he's not a traditional point guard. So that definitely was kind of one of the tones of the national broadcasts, was the fact that they just really didn't have anyone to facilitate the ball. And Derek Fisher felt strongly that's why Young Hansen was, kind of brought in, was because he can pass and he has a good feel for the game. And to your point, he's not really experienced enough to be thrown into that role. So in a lot of ways, it just was kind of one of those weird games. You don't have a point guard on your roster, basically, and it showed.
I mean, when I think I took the streetcar to the game, and I think it was right when I was walking there, I saw, oh, Jeremy Grant's out. And obviously the Blazers played without a point guard in the Dallas game, but Jeremy Grant kind of, I'm not going to say is he can at least help, take some of the pressure off of Shaden, off of Denny, and in those situations. And it's like, without him there too, I think that definitely hurt things as well. I mean, now we're talking about even beyond the point guard situation. It's a depth situation. The team just doesn't have any depth, and the players coming off the bench, while they've had their moments, it's just kind of painful to see Caleb Love and Sissoko be the first two off the bench. I'm like, oh God, is this where we're at now?
Right.
It didn't used to be like this.
Yeah. Those are spot minutes guys,
Yeah.
when you need them, not bad guys to throw in there, but not necessarily guys you want to see playing that heavy of minutes.
They're not sixth man of the year anytime soon.
No.
Kind of where it's at. So, well, how do you feel about going to the game tonight, Gliss? I guess we haven't heard any injury updates. I don't know how long Holiday's going to be out, and Jeremy Grant has an illness. You could kind of assume maybe that he sat out last night to play tonight, but maybe if it's bad, then tonight, and we're looking at the same kind of thing. How are you feeling about tonight?
Yeah, I would hope that Jeremy's at least back in the mix. I think that would help, just having a scorer, and just it's been a rough 10 days or whatever since they started that road trip. I mean, one win in the last 6 games. They need to get back on track somehow. So I would hope that Jeremy's going to play tonight, because they just need some bodies, honestly. And it's tough playing, on a back-to-back when you have a road trip like that, coming off a big loss last night. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I haven't been to a game this year. I'm taking my 16-year-old, so
awesome.
Should be a good time. But I'm hoping that they can turn this thing around, because as we know in the Western Conference, I mean, you gotta you got to keep your head above water if you want to have any shot. And let's not, I mean, I also don't want to like be throwing up all the red flags or anything like that. Let's not forget, like, the Blazers were pretty terrible through December last year, and they still turned it around enough to have a decent shot, um, you know, towards the end of the season, getting in that play-in game. So it's not like everything's bad. That was a weird game. They had a tough road trip. That's sports. It's not, it's not the end of the world. I think there's definitely, there's a lot more basketball to be played. So let's not get too down.
Agreed. And I guess that was kind of the next question I had for you, Gliss, is like, is this panic time? And I do think I guess maybe panic's not the right word. I mean, I kept telling myself before the game because I was like, you're going to a game, you obviously want to see the Blazers come away with a victory, but I was like, this team has lost so many players to injury. This is going to be a very difficult game to win. The Suns are playing really well, like you said. They look great. Um, like this is going to be extremely difficult for the Blazers to pull this off without a point guard. And so I kept kind of telling myself like that, kind of having that expectation. But then they always suck you back in. The first half was kind of fun, and they were
For
close.
sure. Yeah.
They can pull this off, but I still had that inkling in the back of my mind. I was like, the Suns were doing all the things they needed to do on the defensive side of the ball, and then obviously they were scoring well too. So it was just like the recipe wasn't for success. But on the panic side, I don't think I'm panicked yet. I think a lot of things that I've seen like online is like I said, like online can be such a negative place, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, their Blazers are cooked, they're done," and it's like, okay, I mean, we're pretty early into the season, and the team has been absolutely ravaged by injuries. It's hard to completely judge this team right now based on where they're at. Like a game like last night, like you would hope that they would be able to keep it close and give themselves a chance to win it late, but obviously that didn't happen. I think that's the hope for tonight's game is that they can keep it close and give themselves a chance to win it, especially if they have the same injuries as they had last night. But I don't think it's panic time yet. I'm not completely worried. Once we get some bodies back, injuries are part of the season, but for them to be so injured at one position is just so crazy and just doesn't happen very much. So I think once they get people back and once they continue to grow, Shaden's been good the last 4 or 5 games. You add that to the team that was at the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden they're looking better. Obviously, Blake Wesley is not going to be back probably for a little while. I think the initial injury was at least 2 to 3 months. But Matisse was, I think, a month or two, and then we have Scoot, which will be our next topic of conversation. I'm leaving the game last night, just kind of reading some things online, and then Jason Quick drops an article that basically says Scoot has not done any basketball activities yet, and we're sitting on about 2 months since the injury has happened. So I was very concerned when I saw the headline. I was like, God, I'm just getting hit while I'm down, man. It's just like I had a rough game, and then hearing that Scoot hasn't done any
The
basketball.
life of a Blazer fan.
Exactly. So I'm used to. Um, he hasn't done any running, jumping, or explosion movement as his hamstring injury enters its 8th week. That's what Quick tweeted. You read the article, and it is a little bit more positive. It's basically like I think he, obviously he's tweeting that because he wants some views on his stuff, but like the article's a lot more positive. Basically, the doctors have said you're not doing any activities until you're fully ready to do it, and then we'll get you back into basketball shape and practicing and things like that. But yeah, any concern about Scoot's injury and where we're at?
I mean, it's hard not to be a little concerned just because we haven't got to see him on the court.
Yeah,
But I do, especially with something like a hamstring, which can be a very nagging injury. I do like that they're kind of going on the cautious side. So I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to go ahead and put my trust in the medical staff and his team, and hopefully we can get the best healthy version of Scoot when he's ready. But I think a lot of Blazers fans are kind of itching to see him get out there because with the improved roster, if healthy, of course. um, I think a lot of Blazers fans are itching to see him out there. I think it's going to be fun to see him hit the court. So
Absolutely. I mean, Scoot with this team is going to be so fun, and so much of the talk was how much work he put in this offseason to improve his game, and obviously made a jump last season.
yeah, Derek Fisher actually mentioned that on the broadcast as well. That he had a chance to meet Scoot out in LA, and he was like, "Yeah, this dude, for a young player, this dude, he's putting in the work, and this is someone you should be excited to see, not just as a Blazer fan, but as a basketball fan."
Absolutely. Completely agree with that. Scoot says, I can walk around to spots, but no jumping, no exploding. He said that before the game. He says he shoots free throws, some ball handling, but without moving much. But again, I think this does make sense from a medical standpoint because it's just like, hey, we're not messing with it until it's fully healthy. And like you said, we're not doctors, but one thing that we know, being Blazer fans, is hamstrings aren't something to mess with because they can definitely. And the last thing you want for him is to come back and then get rehurt. So that's the Scoot update. All right, let's have some fun. I'm sick of this. Let's You're going to the game tonight.
Yeah.
You have kind of a ritual when you go to the game. Like, are there certain things that you do? Like, how do you get to the game? Do you have a good parking spot or anything like that? Or is there a food spot you're hitting up? I mean, often it changes. Are you getting beer? Where are you getting beer? Like, what's kind of your Moda Center ritual, or the Rose Garden, if you will.
Yeah. So my wife and I had season tickets from '08 to 13.
Okay.
Our go-to parking spot was we like to park under the convention center.
Mm.
There's a lot underneath the convention center, and back in the day, I think it was like $6 or something like that. I think it's more than that now. I think the last time I went, it was like $14 or something
Yeah.
like that. But it is a little bit cheaper, and it's only like a 3 to 5 minute walk. So I'm probably gonna try that out again tonight. I thought about taking the max, and I didn't. I was like, I don't want to deal with that shit. So I'm just gonna.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm bringing my 16-year-olds. I probably will have a beer. I usually, get a beer right when I get in the door. I got to drive, so it's like
Yeah.
I'll have one pregame and then one during the second quarter or something like that. I'm sure the 16-year-old's going to want to check out all the food options. We are actually tonight. We're sitting club level. Um,
No.
yeah, yeah. So he, so I actually, so my 16-year-old, he's visually impaired. Actually, he's legally blind. But he, that's kind of like, that's a legal definition. He can see, he gets around fine. Based on what we were told when he was 6 months old, it's miraculous where he's at today. So he can see and everything like that. But I wanted to this is his birthday present, so I wanted to get him some decent seats. I looked at 100 level seats, and some of them were like, I don't know, they were like $200 a piece or something like that. Some of them were up to like $500 a piece. And I found a pair of club level tickets. They were like 110, something like that. So I just went with that. I was like, okay,
Nice.
it's a good vantage point. So that changes it a little bit, obviously, because you kind of have like the separate concourse and stuff like that. But I have sat club level in the past, a couple times, but it's probably been like, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. So I have no idea what that's going to look like, or what the options are there. So yeah, I'm excited to check it out for sure.
Do you get the free food and stuff like that?
I'm not sure. I know you used to get free food. The way things have been trending in the last 10 years, I don't know. Maybe that's not a thing anymore. So I'm gonna find out. But I know that definitely used to be the case. We have a family friend who has multiple seats throughout the Rose Garden, very good seats, some right under the basket, and then some in club level. So they used to hand us some of their club level seats back in the day, but I haven't been there in a long time, so I have no idea if any of that stuff is included anymore.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll hear back from you.
Yeah.
Experience. I actually, so me and my group of friends always buy tickets to the season opener. And so we know it's a big group, like about 10 of us. So we just have someone in the Blazers department. Shout out to Jackie, who hooks us up with tickets. And so she, if we buy the tickets early enough, she will give us free preseason tickets. And so we reached out and it said, oh, and she had just, I don't know, it slipped through the crack. We had forgot to sign up for the preseason tickets. So we reached out before the season and said, oh, we never got the free preseason tickets. Could you, what's the next steps in that? And she sent us a list of games, and some of them were regular season games. So one of the games that she said we could get free tickets to was last night. And so we're like, yeah, of course. And then it just so happened we were in section 104. So we were 100 level. We're about 10 rows behind the Blazers bench, or the Suns bench, excuse me. So there was a bunch of Suns fans around us, which was kind of lame. I mean, it was a fun experience. I live in Southeast, so pretty close to Moda Center. Take the streetcar there. It's really fast, shockingly fast. I couldn't believe it. I mean, maybe like a 6-minute ride or something like that. And it's super quick, and
Nice.
it's not affected by the traffic either. I mean, so it's really great. So take the streetcar to the game. Yeah, there's two I guess spots in the Moda Center where you can find beers for under $6. And
Yeah, you
so
were talking about that. You said upstairs.
yeah, upstairs there's I think it's called the Slow Bar.
And what kind of beer are we talking about?
Not great. I mean, we're
So it's like light and domestic.
yeah, beer in a can. And then downstairs at the Hop Valley place, you can also find them for like $5.50, $5.75. So, I mean, realistically, you're not getting a beer on draft, but you're also not paying $17 or whatever it is. So, I mean, it's kind of up to you whether how you want to play that game.
I'll go the bougie route. I'm gonna get my on tap.
Fair. But if you're feeling like you want to get some cheap beer, those are some good options. So, and then now ranch pizza at the Moda Center, which is nice. I'm always like getting pizza at the games because a little easier to eat and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So kind of the pizza route has been where I've been going food wise, but all kinds of great food options. I was just walking around last night in the lower concourse, and it's like, wow. I mean, there's like Burmese food and stuff. It's crazy. I mean, Portland's such a food city. So, okay, Gliss. One last thing. I have a surprise for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, close your eyes.
All right.
Well, we're the Wake Up RipCity podcast, and I thought it was time we got merch. So I only bought two, one for each of us. Wake Up RipCity hat.
Look at that.
Isn't that nice?
That's sweet, dude.
Got this for you. The next time I see you, we each got one.
All right.
A logo on it in a circle. Nice hat. Had them custom made for us. And
I like it.
There we go. I wore it last night game. Yeah, kind of a cool hat. I like our logo. It's got the Portland City in it, a Blazers logo over the Willamette. So
digging it.
Hats. Next time I see you, I'll give you yours.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Awesome, man. All right. Well, this has been the Wake Up RipCity podcast. You can follow us on YouTube. We're just Wake Up RipCity podcast. Just search us on YouTube. You'll find us there. And then on Instagram, I have our Instagram. We're growing. It's happening. Just Wake Up RipCity. And then also on Spotify. Please listen to us on Spotify. You can also watch video there. So please subscribe to us as well. Thank you so much for joining and listening. We will be back again tomorrow, and we'll hear from Gliss in the club level. and hopefully the get back on the winning tracks against the Chicago Bulls. Tip-off is at a normal time tonight at 7 p.m. Damn, man, I didn't get home till like 11:30 last night. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. That 8 o'clock tip-off, that's
threw me off.
That was something.
But yeah, normal time tonight, 7 p.m. Gliss, have a great time tonight. Enjoy it. Super excited for you to go sit club level. That's awesome.
I'll be drinking my craft beer with my pinky out in club level.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see ya.